She was very cool, calm, calculated, and a criminal-minded lady.
Just an evil person. If they'd acted upon the initial suspicions, it would have prevented multiple deaths, really. There's no way she should have been able to get away with it for so long.
She had one dream her whole life: to become a nurse, working tirelessly to heal, protect, and care for others. Lucy Letby is a soft-spoken woman often described as kind, gentle, and sweet. She was the last person anyone would suspect. But what lay beneath that gentle smile was far more sinister. What did she work hard for? What drove her dedication saving lives or ending them? No one saw it coming, a darkness that would haunt the families of newborns in her care. This is the unsettling story of Lucy Letby, the nurse turned nightmare. Lucy Letby was born on January 4, 1990, in Hereford, Herefordshire. She was the only child of her parents who both worked with numbers. Her father was a finance manager and her mother an accounts clerk. But Lucy's life wasn't always easy. She had a difficult birth, a start that could have taken her life before it even began. Knowing that she had been saved, she grew up feeling grateful for the nurses who had been there to help her breathe her first breaths. That gratitude grew into a lifelong dream to help others the way those nurses had helped her. From an early age, Lucy knew what she wanted to do. She wanted to be a nurse. Lucy attended Aylstone School and then went on to Hereford Sixth Form College. She was a bright student, determined to make her dream of nursing come true. After high school, she was accepted into the University of Chester, becoming the first in her family to go to college. At university, she trained hard, studying child nursing, the field she was most passionate about. During her training, she worked as a student nurse, taking on placements at two major hospitals, Liverpool Women's Hospital and the Countess of Chester Hospital. But in her final year of training, she faced a major setback. She failed her final placement. She noted that she struggled with clinical and medication knowledge and even had trouble reading patients' nonverbal cues of distress. They described her behavior as cold, which raised concerns about her ability to connect with those she wanted to care for. But Lucy didn't give up. She requested a new checker, completed a special retrieval placement, and eventually passed. In September 2011, Lucy graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, specializing in child nursing. Her family celebrated her achievement, proud to see her dreams finally become a reality. And with that degree, Lucy Letby officially stepped into the world of nursing. She'd worked so hard, overcome setbacks, and was finally on the path she'd dreamed of since childhood. But how did the girl who wanted to save lives end up in the headlines for the most bizarre reasons? What could have changed along the way? After graduating, Lucy Letby finally stepped into the career she dreamed of, landing a position in 2012 as a registered nurse at the neonatal unit of the Countess of Chester Hospital. She was caring for tiny, fragile lives, many needing constant support to survive. In a staff profile in 2013, she shared how much she loved her job, explaining that she was responsible for caring for a wide range of babies, requiring various levels of support, and that the most rewarding part was seeing them progress and supporting their families. She even joined a fundraising campaign for a new neonatal unit, eager to improve the place she'd call home for her career. But beneath this passion, Lucy started to express something surprising. She found non-intensive care work boring. Her focus seemed to shift toward only the most critical cases, which could raise eyebrows. During this time, she completed 2 additional training placements at Liverpool Women's Hospital, one in late 2012 and another in early 2015. Later, both placements would come under scrutiny as disturbing incidents were reported during her shifts. Out of the 33 shifts she worked at Liverpool, potentially life-threatening situations happened on nearly a third of them. In one case from November 2012, a baby under her care collapsed. Water was later found in the child's breathing tube. The following year, in 2013, an incident occurred that landed Lucy in hot water. Alongside a more experienced nurse, she set the morphine infusion rate for a newborn at 10 times the correct amount, an error that could have been deadly. This was serious enough that the deputy ward manager, Yvonne Griffiths, decided Lucy should no longer handle controlled medications. Unsurprisingly, Lucy was furious, saying it was an overreaction. After complaining to the unit manager, her suspension from handling drugs was lifted within a week. Still, she was required to undergo extra training. By 2015, she qualified to work with infants in intensive care, stepping further into the high-stakes environment she seemed to crave. Fast forward to June 2015, at Countess of Chester Hospital in the UK, specifically in the neonatal unit. Normally, the unit might see a couple of deaths a year, but then 4 babies collapsed within a short time, and 3 of them didn't make it. In a unit that rarely loses more than 1 or 2 babies a year, suddenly there's a spike, a serious one. Doctors and nurses started to talk. Arian Powell, the unit manager, and Dr. Stephen Brary, one of the consultants, were on edge. They reported what they found to the committee responsible for serious incidents at the NHS Foundation Trust. The verdict? They brush it off as medication errors. Dr. Brary can't quite shake this uneasy feeling. He noticed that a nurse named Lucy Letby has been on shift every time something went wrong, but at the time he chalked it up to bad luck or just a coincidence. Lucy often worked extra shifts. She was young, hardworking, and willing to cover for others. After all, the committee itself said there's no real issue. Suspicious, yes, but nothing concrete, nothing that could hold up in an investigation. Fast forward to February 2016, the Care Quality Commission makes a routine visit. The staff hinted that they're struggling to raise concerns with managers. There's this tension in the air, this sense that something's off, but no one specifically mentions the spike in baby deaths. And the Care Quality Commission doesn't catch it either. They do notice issues like short staffing and skill mix problems, but overall, they say the hospital has a good vibe and that the staff feels supported and can speak up about issues. Then comes May 2016. Reports from a nationwide project show that the neonatal death rate there has shot up 10% higher than what's expected. Something is seriously wrong, and they can't ignore it anymore. But again, higher-ups at the hospital, for whatever reason, decided that it's all just a tragic coincidence and kind of brushed it under the rug. Dr. Brary's patience is wearing thin. In June 2016, 2 more babies collapsed shortly after Lucy returned from a holiday in Ibiza. That's it for Brary. He's had enough. He calls the duty executive and demands that Lucy be removed from the unit. But guess what? The duty executive isn't having it. They insist Lucy is perfectly safe to work. At the end of June, the hospital's top executives finally met to discuss what was happening in the neonatal unit. They bring in the Royal College of Pediatrics and Child Health to do a review. The unit's services are scaled back, and they stop taking premature babies born before 32 weeks. It's a small change, but not nearly enough to address the bigger picture. By October 2016, the college finished its review. They couldn't find a solid explanation for the spike in deaths, but they did point out problems. Not enough staff and not enough senior doctors. They even praised Lucy's nursing skills. They think the concerns about her are just subjective views with no evidence. Meanwhile, Lucy isn't exactly thrilled with her transfer out of the neonatal unit to a desk job. In September 2016, she filed a formal grievance, claiming the consultants orchestrated her removal without evidence. The board upheld her grievance in January 2017, agreeing that she was unfairly removed. The chief executive even apologizes to Lucy and assures her parents the doctors involved will be dealt with. Soon after, the consultants receive orders to write her an apology, but some consultants can't ignore what's happening. Dr. Brary and Dr. Ravi Jayaram, among others, are feeling quite unsettled. They needed outside help, so in March 2017, they asked the hospital to involve the police.
What was it like when babies started dying and you couldn't understand why?
I've been a paediatrician since 1992, and I had never in my career seen anything like this. And actually initially there was a feeling of thank goodness Lucy was on, because she's really good in a crisis, she's really good at managing these things. But as time progressed, the thoughts started springing into our heads. Could she be doing something deliberate?
They finally meet with Cheshire Constabulary on April 27, 2017. Lucy's set to return to work soon, but these doctors aren't about to let her go back without doing something. They're convinced these unexplained collapses can't just be coincidence. In May 2017, the hospital made a public statement that they were bringing in the police to rule out unnatural causes of death. And with that, Operation Hummingbird is born, a massive investigation into the unexplained tragedies that have haunted the neonatal unit for far too long. Senior Investigating Officer Paul Hughes talks about those early days of the investigation. He says they started with every possible explanation: natural causes, infections, organic issues, viruses. But one hypothesis stood out from the rest, lurking quietly, hauntingly in the background. What if someone had intentionally caused harm? As the investigations went on, they got their criminal.
Oh, Lucy, is it?
Yes.
Hello, my name's Chester, please. Look, it's Stefan, 2 seconds.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
On July 3rd, 2018, the moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived, Lucy Letby was arrested. The police had gathered enough evidence to charge her with 8 counts of murder and 6 counts of attempted murder. After her arrest, things didn't slow down. The police launched a full-scale investigation into Lucy's entire career, digging deep into her time at Liverpool Women's Hospital and beyond. Just 3 days later, on July 6, 2018, she was bailed out. But the story wasn't over yet. Fast forward to June 10, 2019, and Lucy was rearrested. Again, she was granted bail a few days later. Things took another dramatic turn on November 10, 2020. Lucy was arrested once more, but this time, the police denied her bail. It seemed like the walls were finally closing in on her. Throughout this whole ordeal, Lucy maintained her innocence, insisting that the issues in the hospital, like hygiene and staffing levels, were to blame for the tragedies. The stage was set for what would become a highly publicized trial. It began on October 10, 2022 at Manchester Crown Court, overseen by Mr. Justice Goss. Lucy pleaded not guilty to 7 counts of murder and an astonishing 15 counts of attempted murder. This was more than just a trial, it was a deeply emotional battle, filled with tension and heartbreak. As the trial unfolded, a dark web of evidence began to emerge against Lucy Letby, a nurse accused of committing horrifying acts against vulnerable infants. One heart-wrenching moment came from a mother who described the pain of hearing her baby scream. She rushed into the room to find her child with blood around his mouth and Lucy nearby. When the mother asked about the blood, Lucy coldly claimed it was from a nasogastric tube, insisting, "Trust me, I'm a nurse." Just hours later, the baby's condition worsened and he passed away. On the day of the funeral, Lucy sent a sympathy card to the grieving parents, but investigators discovered she had taken a photograph of the card before sending it. This sinister act suggested a disturbing obsession. She even had to be reminded multiple times not to enter the room where the parents were mourning. Lucy later claimed taking one infant to the mortuary was the hardest thing she ever had to do. But many found her words creepy and insincere. The Crown Prosecution Service revealed disturbing text messages sent by Lucy to friends, which resembled a twisted form of live blogging about the deaths. Just 3 days after one baby died, she messaged her manager, eager to take on more shifts, saying she needed to take an intensive therapy unit baby soon. Her eagerness seemed evil. After another baby's death, she exchanged heated texts with a colleague, showing frustration over not being assigned to the intensive care room. Just hours after another infant collapsed, Lucy texted about her miserable work but cheerfully. The timing of these messages felt too weird, given the circumstances. In an even more haunting turn, Lucy was found to have searched for the families of several deceased infants on social media, even on the anniversaries of their deaths. She searched for 11 families in total, often within minutes of each other, as if stalking them. Lucy claimed it was mere curiosity. Yet during the year the deaths occurred, she searched for other people a staggering 2,187 times, raising eyebrows about her true intentions. The prosecution pointed to the start of suspicious incidents in 2015, coinciding with Lucy's qualification to work in intensive care. In February 2016, a consultant walked in on Lucy standing over a distressed infant, yet she failed to act, claiming the baby had just begun to decline. This child survived, but the unsettling question remained: how many others had not? As the evidence mounted, the prosecution revealed that Lucy had been assigned to care for one twin, while another unexpectedly collapsed but survived after desperate efforts. It was alleged that Lucy had injected air into his bloodstream. Despite being told not to work night shifts, she volunteered to cover extra shifts, raising suspicions. Concerns about Lucy's behavior had been raised by several doctors, but their fears were dismissed by the hospital administration. They were told not to make a fuss. Lucy's ominous comments only added to the creepy atmosphere. Just an hour before one child's death, she reportedly said, "He's not leaving here alive, is he?" The prosecution painted a horrifying picture, presenting a shift chart showing Lucy was present during 25 suspicious incidents. They argued that by simply eliminating other possibilities, Lucy must be the cause of the tragedies. Strikingly, after she was removed from the unit, the unexpected deaths ceased. The most unsettling evidence came from handwritten notes found in Lucy's belongings. Scrawled phrases like, "I am evil," "I did this," and "I killed them on purpose," sent shivers down the spine of those who read them. The prosecution claimed these notes revealed her inner demons, while Lucy later argued they were just expressions of stress during her investigation. Among her possessions, investigators found a diary marked with the initials of deceased infants. Each entry appeared to track their births, alleged attacks, and deaths, raising the horrifying possibility of premeditated actions.
They told me that there had been a lot more deaths and that I'd been linked to somebody that was there for a lot of them.
Did you have any concerns that there was a rise in the mortality rate?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about that. What concerns did you have?
I think we'd all just noticed as a team in general, the nurse and staff, that this was a rise compared to previous years.
In a shocking discovery, medical documents related to the infants were found hidden under her bed, which Lucy claimed were collected out of habit. As the trial continued, the evidence against Lucy Letby painted a haunting portrait. Each revelation left the courtroom gripped by a sense of dread and disbelief. In May 2023, Lucy Letby took the stand to defend herself against the harrowing charges she faced. As she spoke, tears filled her eyes and she claimed that the accusations made her feel incompetent, insisting she meant no harm. Lucy described the toll the allegations had taken on her mental health, saying, "I don't think you can be accused of anything worse than that. I just changed as a person. My mental health deteriorated and I felt isolated from my friends on the unit." However, her testimony was marked by contradictions and confusion. She struggled to keep her story straight and grew increasingly frustrated with the prosecution's questions, a lot different from her usual calm demeanor. Lucy's defense lawyer painted a different picture of her, arguing that she was a dedicated nurse working in a failing system. He claimed that the prosecution's case was built on the assumption that someone was deliberately causing harm, combined with the unfortunate coincidence of Lucy's presence during troubling incidents. The defense attempted to provide alternative explanations for the disturbing events and suggested that there had been a massive failure of care in the busy neonatal unit, far too great to blame on one person. On August 18, 2023, the jury delivered their final verdicts.
Lucy Letby, over a period of almost 13 months between June 2015 and June 2016, when in your mid-20s and employed as a neonatal nurse in the Countess of Chester Hospital in Chester with specialist training in intensive care, you murdered 7 babies and attempted to murder 6 others.
However, she was found not guilty on 2 counts of attempted murder, and the jury could not reach a verdict on 6 further attempted murder charges. Nicholas Johnson, KC, requested 28 days to consider whether a retrial would be sought for these unresolved counts. And finally, on August 21, 2023, Lucy was sentenced to life imprisonment with a whole life order, the most severe sentence available under English law. She became only the 4th woman in UK legal history to receive such a sentence. The Judge Goss described Lucy's actions as a cruel, calculated, and cynical campaign of child murder against the most vulnerable of children. In his closing statements, he emphasized the deep hatred bordering on sadism in her actions. In January 2024, Lucy applied to the Court of Appeal to challenge her convictions, but a judge refused her request. A retrial began on June 10, 2024. By July 2nd, she was again found guilty of attempted murder and was sentenced on July 5, 2024, to another whole life order. sealing her grim fate. The court did not establish a clear motive for her shocking actions, but that didn't stop the prosecution from spinning a web of theories. They suggested several reasons why Lucy might have committed such terrible acts: boredom, thrill-seeking, and even a twisted sense of playing God. Criminal psychologists chimed in with their theories, proposing that Lucy might have been suffering from a condition called factitious disorder imposed on another. It's a fancy way of saying she could have been trying to gain attention by making others sick. Adding to the discussion, David Wilson, a criminology expert, published an opinion piece in The Guardian, suggesting Lucy might have had a hero complex. After this horrific tragedy, the British Medical Association stepped in, demanding accountability from NHS managers and healthcare administrators for their role in the mismanagement that allowed these horrors to occur. Rob Behrens, the Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman, echoed these calls for change, urging a radical overhaul of NHS management to ensure that no more vulnerable lives would be lost in the future. But what do you think? Was she a trusted caregiver or a cold-hearted killer? In a world where the line between saint and sinner blurs, can we truly trust those who hold our most vulnerable? The terrifying truth may never be fully uncovered. Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching.